Morning, everyone. It's the 26th of April. We're Signal Centre Talking Ball. I'm Joe Neighbour and joined by Steve O'Hare. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, mate. All right.
Yeah, you have a nice break?
Very nice break, thank you.
Good. I
Very
was
good.
drowning by myself
Oh, were you?
under the mountain of work.
Was it quite?
No, it was all right.
It wasn't too bad.
No, it was okay.
Meetings, was it?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so let's get straight on with it then, shall we? In terms of news, pretty serious situation in India. I don't know if you've caught any of this, Steve. It's
Yeah, saw a bit of
pretty hard
this.
to
Yeah.
ignore, but over 1 million cases in 3 days. Streets are mostly empty in the streets of in Delhi, but they haven't put in place a nationwide lockdown for whatever reason. But the tracker shows they've had about 11 out of 100 people in India have now received a vaccine dose. So it really isn't a good situation over there. Obviously, we're sending over um, ventilators to try and help out. I imagine everybody else is as well because they are drowning under the weight of cases by the looks of things.
Yeah, I see that they're running out of oxygen in a lot of places, and they couldn't even get the oxygen to a lot of people either, even if they weren't running out. So yeah,
Strange,
pretty
isn't it?
horrific.
We were sort of at the time when the first breakout, and it reached India, thinking how they were going to cope because
Yeah,
it's obviously very heavily populated and quite poor in areas. They sort of got through the first one pretty okay. I mean, and this one seems to be really gripping them. So hopefully they can get it under control pretty quickly.
yeah, it is strange. I don't know whether we got a lot of information from the first wave, or
That
whether
could be the case.
this is their proper first wave. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's yeah, pretty horrendous out there.
Yeah, in terms of sort of the better news with regards to COVID, American tourists who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 will be able to visit Europe over the summer. Ursula von der Leyen has told the New York Times. So that's pretty good that we can start seeing a bit of movement of people, obviously, if they're not on red lists and they've had their vaccinations. So I guess a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel with some of
Yeah.
that. Elsewhere, we've got some relationships deteriorating between US and Turkey. Joe Biden commemorated the 106th anniversary of a mass killing of Armenians by calling it genocide, which was a word no US leader since Ronald Reagan had used to describe the 1915 event. So apparently that's opened up some deep wounds and undermines mutual trust and friendship, according to Turkey, and the lira has slipped as a result of that. So yeah, Biden's not making many friends on that basis.
Sticks and stones may break
Yeah,
my bones, but words will
indeed.
never harm me. Doesn't ring true.
No. In Germany, the Green Party overtook Chancellor Merkel's Christian Democrat-led bloc in an opinion poll ahead of September's national election. So that'll be quite interesting, considering how much of the German industry is supported by automakers.
Yeah.
But they're all turning green, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's
We'll
true.
see what happens. Quite interesting. So, in terms of what we can expect this week, we've got earnings season obviously back underway in the States. Tesla, the big name, reporting today. In Europe, we've got Pearson, Philips, Michelin, and SSAB. What have we got in the US? Any bigger names other than Tesla? Looks like Tesla's the big one today, but obviously there'll be bigger names coming out this week. Okay, onto some charts. Steve, have you had a chance to have a look at any charts, or are you just gonna
Yeah, no, I had a look at a few.
share your screen for us?
Oh yes, we should really look at Tesla as well, shouldn't we?
Yeah, well, let me get stuck into FX then. If you're
Yeah, okay, and I'll bring up the Tesla chart as well when we're talking about indices.
okay. Right. Okay, so starting off with the dollar index. This is the daily chart, and this correction lower has continued. On Friday, we saw an engulfing candle, pretty much engulfing all the previous day's session, and it looks as though we are heading a little lower again today. In terms of where the support may be found, I've got a fib level of the 78.6 level of this low here from the 25th of February to this high here on the 31st of March. That comes in at 90.48. I've also got this trend of higher lows coming in somewhere around 90.20 today. So maybe we'll see some buyers re-emerge here, but certainly in the short term, the momentum remains bearish and there is no signs of that slowing today. If we then look at euro dollar, which is obviously the flip side of what's going on with dollar index, you can see this sharp corrective channel that's playing out here. Really big impulsive move higher on Friday. Volumes weren't really that supportive and haven't been throughout this sort of move higher. So I don't know if that's a little bit of a warning sign, but we're into some potential resistance levels here, which is this sequence of lower highs. So that's coming in today at 121.22. So we'll see if any resistance forms there. Also quite like this level here, which is the low prior to a big impulsive move down. So we've got a level at 21.55 there to maybe take a look at. If you're looking at any sort of speculative entries on the short side, then you can place a stop above this high here and maybe target a full retracement of this corrective move higher. So some decent risk reward potentially on offer on that one. In terms of other currencies, obviously anything that's against the US dollar isn't looking great. So this is Aussie dollar, which is extending higher from this wedge pattern. A little bit of a consolidation over the last few days, but that looks to be moving higher again today. If we look at cable, doing something quite similar, a bit of a pullback, but now moving higher, retesting maybe the underside, the reverse side of this wedge formation. I think while it's below this level at 14000, then we can expect more chop and range bound price action. So above there, I'd be looking for an extension back up to those highs at 42.41. Looking at dollar CAD, still open to the idea of this being a really large wedge pattern, but it needs to break above this level here at 26.47. Had the smallest of looks above that level on the 21st of April, but there's absolutely no follow through at all. In fact, it will reverse that to form a bearish outside candle, and we're continuing to grind lower at the moment. So nothing happening there. Euro sterling I thought looked quite interesting. Maybe a head and shoulders or reverse head and shoulders forming here. Also, we've got a bit of a wedge pattern on the daily chart. So we've broken out of this wedge here on the 6th of April. But if you squint hard enough, you can maybe see a reverse head and shoulders here. So we've got this left shoulder here. We've got the head down to here on the 5th of April where it bottomed out. A move higher to here on the 16th of April to form then this right shoulder. And we have a neckline coming in around about 87.20 or 87.19. So if we can break above that, then I think we could see a decent push higher in euro sterling up to the measured move target of 89.66. So I quite like that today, but waiting for it to break this neckline, because until it does, it's not a head and shoulders or reverse head and shoulders. So watching and waiting on that one today. That pretty much sums up all I wanted to look at on FX today. I'll have a rescan of my charts later on today and redraw them just to see where I feel that we could be headed over the week ahead. But that wraps it up for today. So, Steve, I'm going to throw it over to you and you can talk us through what you can see.
Okay, mate. It's a bit weird coming back after a few days away. You sort of obviously try and not keep too close an eye on news and markets when you're away relaxing. So you come back fresh. So I did that. We saw last week in crude oil a negative week, but overall there's a small loss on the weekly chart, and again off to a sort of a bit of a slow start this morning. We can look at this daily chart. We saw the 20th. Let me just make sure that was Tuesday, and Wednesday was the negative price action, and Tuesday formed a bearish outside candle which covered the 3 previous days. So that is pretty negative, and we're seeing the volumes drop off as well, and obviously bullish momentum fading. Again today we've got off to a negative start. We had a little bit of a recovery from the 60.56 level on WTI crude oil, but this morning giving up the gains back to basically Friday's price, Friday's price action. On gold, this is obviously pretty affected by the dollar, which is, as Joe mentioned, weakening. We got the double bottom formation, which we've highlighted for a while now, and I think this gives it a little bit more oomph with this dollar weakness, although we did see Thursday and Friday pull away from the highs which we reached, which was just under $1,800. Again, that was a level we talked about as a psychological level. The 50% retracement above there is at 1817, but really the main resistance level, or maybe the potential target level, is around about 1835. This is the measured move target here at the top of this arrow. But for me, 1875 is the level to watch. That's the line in the sand. I think if we break above there, we could see all-time highs again. So yeah, on as far as I'm concerned for this week, again, we've had, looking at the weekly chart, pretty indecisive week last week after a really decent push higher. So indecision, where's it going to go? Probably waiting for the dollar to sort of like give a little bit of a signal. But at this moment in time, I'd be looking really to buy dips on gold. Indices, they had a bit of a battering as well last week. We can see the FTSE nearly formed a bearish outside candle. However, it did recover on, I think it was Friday. Yeah, it recovered slightly Friday just to stop that bearish outside candle being formed. Again, the dollar weakness would be impacting on FTSE, as we know it's very dollar based. On the 4-hour chart, we can still see a little bit of support in the Ichimoku cloud, but it's really a question of whether we can actually regain these high levels. At the moment, we're under the cloud. We've got off to quite a decent start this morning, and we're pushing above, trying to break above this Ichimoku cloud resistance. We've broken above the last few days of last week's highs, and so that looks pretty positive for FTSE at the start of the week. A little bit of a similar picture for DAX. Again, really nice reversal on Friday. So put it back, reacted from this 15,147 supportive area that we breached previous to that, and the reactions are quite impulsive, looking quite good, but still a bit of resistance to get above. The DAX has to really break above 15,338 before we can then look to target the all-time highs again. No problem with all-time highs for the Dow. They obviously, we saw the sell-off again last week, but the recovery has been pretty fierce as well, and we're not far away from the all-time highs. Nasdaq, again, we're seeing Tesla report today, as Joe's just mentioned, and that's a stone's throw away from, well, the all-time high is above 14,000. It's 14,066 on this chart, and that's not very far away. So if we get some decent results out of Tesla, could we potentially see a spike higher towards the all-time highs led by Tesla? S&P as well, again, all-time highs, very, very close, within spitting distance, just below the 4,200 level we'll be looking to target. So everything seems to have got off to a decent start this week, and really not expecting any sort of reason for that not to continue. We've had some seriously bad news last week from India, but you know, we're shrugging that off. It might be worth looking at the APAC indices as well, just to get a quick look. We can see China overnight has had a pretty horrendous move lower. That's forming a bearish outside candle at the moment, so be aware of that. Hang Seng as well on a negative footing, and I think we'll see Aussie 200. Obviously, that's got the minor stocks in it, which remain slightly robust, but we're seeing this bearish divergence where prices are remaining close to the highs, but the momentum is really dying off quickly. So potentially a reversal in that. On the daily chart, we've seen the Nikkei push nicely higher. Got off to a negative start this morning, but it's recovered quite well. The only one really, obviously, I just wanted to quickly look at Tesla to see if there's any real indication. As you can see from the weekly chart, we've had this really fantastic impulsive move higher, and this for me
Steve,
is
if you press log at the bottom, might be a bit better, and then zoom up.
yeah.
Here we go.
That looks a bit better. And you can see this impulsive move higher and potential for the completion of the fifth wave, which is normally followed by a three-wave down leg, ABC, move lower. We've had the AB, and then are we going to get a C to D? If we are, we'd be looking for a little bit of support to come in. Really, for us, the long-term support sits at around about just in front of 500. We're trading at 430 at the moment. But if we look at the shorter-term charts, let's have a look at how the volume again has sort of like is dropping off as we're having this rally higher. Momentum also looking to cross over the MACD. So for me, it's a little bit of a triangle formation, which we can see on the 4-hour chart, which especially with this resistance trend line, downward trending resistance up here, we're above the Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hour chart, but this is a much stronger trend line than this one here. This is only 2 points. This has actually got 3 or 4 points. So pretty strong resistance. And today or for the rest of the day, that resistance will be up around about 764. So any decent news out of Tesla could see a potential rally to around that level. That would be a nice level to take profit in line with what we've seen over the last couple of months in terms of price action. On the other side, if we do get a poor results from Tesla or not quite as good as expected, then good potential for a retracement lower, but we'll find great support coming in around about the 645 to 650 area, along with the Ichimoku cloud, quite solid support there before we even contemplate the move down towards the 500 level, which will be the long-term support. That's it for Tesla, I think.
Cool. Did we go through Bitcoin?
Oh no, we didn't.
Because obviously that's had a slamming over the last few sessions.
I'd like to
It's
see
the most
chart.
oversold it's been since March last year.
Oversold? I didn't think that was impossible for Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's
I think that's a word that was not in the Bitcoin dictionary.
So from its highs at 64,900, it's actually dropped 27.5% at its worst.
Yeah,
rallying back hard today.
We were. I've been talking about this. Obviously, you can see one of my gun to the head trades trying to get short of this, and I did a video on it last week where I sort of said there's good potential for a retracement. 50,000 for me was the one of the obvious levels to move to. Here's my weekly chart, which I analysed last week, and yeah, we're sort of like, have we completed the fifth wave? Potentially, I still think there's a lot saying yes, we have. I'm not saying.
I mean, looking at that chart, it's bad, but if you have a 20% move down in something, you class that as a bear market, don't you?
Yeah.
In typical finance.
Oh yeah, but
this is a bit of a gone down 27%.
I think I saw a chart yesterday. I'm a bit gutted I didn't sort of forward it onto myself, and it showed bubbles in the past, and basically it's almost like a bubble in the past has sort of been like this. This has been like the .com. Oh, hang on 1 second. This was like a .com bubble down here.
Yeah.
And this is a crypto bubble. It's like you're talking about thousands of percent higher as a bubble, and that for me is a very scary thing. I still believe it is a bubble. I'm not saying it's not going to be something for the future. I do believe it is. It's a way of life for us, and it's going to replace the fiat currency eventually. But there's going to be some sort of storms in between that. And we've all got to be a little bit careful when we look at investing in these. Don't sort of like trust them as deep as you can do. I mean, we've seen sort of like like things like Dogecoin, which I think was a made-up thing, and not really doesn't really have any purpose. I'm sure I get a lot of haters for saying that, but that's what I get told by kids who are trading it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop people having a punt by the looks of things. But
No.
yeah, I think this is a little bit of a concern for the longs. I mean, okay, if you're long from zero, you don't really care. But for people who've sort of like lumped into this around about the 50,000 level and above, this will be quite painful, especially if they've done it on a leverage basis. Yeah. Where do I think it's going this week? I mean, daily chart for me, this is like both broken out of this triangle, retraced nicely. Great start today. I mean, that's a bullish hammer, so
Powerful,
good
isn't it?
potential. Yeah, pretty powerful indeed. And no reason why we sort of couldn't revisit. I like the sort of like 58,000 level. It always seems to have sort of decent price action there. But we can see, look at this volume as well. That is bearish divergence. And look at how it's, like you say, the oversold indication. That is like the MACD showing that. So yeah, it feels like we're going to get a correction out of it, but I wouldn't put a lot on it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on then. So, gun to the head. I was obviously flying solo last week with that. Managed to tread water. No fireworks, unfortunately. Where are we? So, what did I do? I went long of Nasdaq on Friday and made 145 ticks or 1.69R. So that was quite nice.
Nice.
Bit of a clue about what I'm looking at today. I've got silver already lined up on the spreadsheet, so I'll get straight into that, shall I?
Yeah.
Where is silver? Okay, so this is the daily chart first up. Broken out of a little channel here, looking quite good. Obviously, Steve's gone through gold as well, quite bullish on that. So silver on the intraday charts. This is what I'm looking at. So decent uptrend going back now to 31st of March, holding that quite nicely. We've seen a retest of that today. Over the last hour, we've seen a decent bit of buying. Nice green candle that's been posted there. So I'm going to buy it at 26.02. I'm going to place a stop loss below these lows here at 25.80, and I'm going to target a move to 26.64. So looking for just under 3R on that today. So that's my trade of the day. What do you think, Steve?
I am going to have a little look at FTSE. As I say, we've sort of like got this sort of corrective channel where we saw the lows. I'm sort of thinking about dollar. Dollar for me still feels like a little bit weak. So I'm going to go for, although we've had this nice push higher, feels to me like a bit of an ending wedge, ending triangle. So let's fade it and pick a nice point because we can get some decent risk reward in here as well. If we get the stop at 69.60, it's not very far away, and then we could just target a little move down towards the 6,900 level for a decent 4-to-1 risk reward. So that's me getting short here, 69.47.5, targeting 68.97.5, and stop at 69.60.
Cool. Good luck.
Yeah, that we'll know the answer to that pretty quickly. So it doesn't feel like one that's going to last all day.
Let's hope so. And you ride it out till 9 o'clock and you're nicely in profit.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so we have got German EFO, which is already out. That came out 10 minutes ago. We then have US durable goods due out at 1:30. In and amongst that, we've got Tesla earnings, as we said, which kicks off another busy week. And at some point this week, or probably Wednesday, as it always is, we've got the Fed interest rate decisions as well. So plenty coming up this week. So hopefully we'll see some decent action that we can all make a few quid out of.
Yeah, brilliant.
Lovely. All right, let's wrap it up there, Steve. Nice to have you back. We'll be back tomorrow morning, and until then, trade safe, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye bye.